Guess how many people have checked out Palworld on Xbox since launch? Alright, I'm not going to leave you in suspense any longer. 7 million people have played it since it hit Game Pass on day one, which means it's probably quite likely that you've already been playing it, so we're going to need your help in the comments with this one. But we wanted to explore why everybody is playing Palworld and show why you should if you haven't already. For all its cute and terrifying beasties, first and foremost, Palworld is a survival game, which means that there's a constantly ticking clock and a constant challenge. From as soon as you're dropped into the Galapagos Islands, your main job is, well, survive. You need to get food, build tools, structures, and be wary of the climate before you freeze to death. This means that there's a challenge that players must contend with right away that, yeah, sure, gets easier, but it's always hanging over you afterwards. Don't eat, you die. Don't warm yourself, you'll die. Wander too far from home, you'll probably die. The progression through the tech tree lessens this blow and feels truly rewarding as well. You'll be able to craft better gear and weapons the better your base is, and building that base feels infinitely rewarding. Building your first ranged weapons feels so rewarding because up until then, you've probably just had to contend with using a pretty feeble bat. So yeah, Palworld makes for a pretty great survival game, but that's not all it is. That's the world bit of it sorted. Now the pals. There's over 100 different species and each have their own elemental types, which determines their strengths and weaknesses, and you can capture different pals all across the world, with different ones appearing in different biomes and at different times of day. So it 1000% pays to explore wherever and whenever you can. Naturally, everyone will have their personal favourites. I mean, I'm partial to an icy dragon called Chillet, and like many pals, you could actually craft a saddle and ride this one as a mount. It's one of the game's early bosses, by the way, so you guys will probably have no trouble finding it either. The pals you do come across aren't just cute company, by the way. They can get put to work at your base, but their efficiency is part of the challenge. Pals have different benefits and proficiencies, like lumbering or mining, so having that perfect mix of skills at work at your base at once is part of the challenge. You can even breed a couple of different pals together to create special variant species. Also, the breeding process actually involves feeding them cake, which is both kind of adorable, but also deeply strange. Mixing your pals skills together, whether at base or just creating items that help unlock mounted abilities, is part of the challenge and brings way more depth beyond the pals just looking either cute, cool, or often a mix of the two. So I guess that's pretty much all of the bog standard monster catching boxes ticked then, but Palworld has so much more going on than that as well. As you've probably clocked from the trailer or seen it spread online on Twitter or wherever else, Palworld also involves a lot of action. More so than such cute beasties are usually involved in anyway. In this messed up monster fest, you don't just send a pal out and let it fight for you. No, instead you're going to be battering and blasting pals into oblivion with your own two hands and an array of different melee and ranged weapons. Little quick tip though, trying to take down a giant fire monster using nothing but a wooden bat is exactly as bad an idea as it sounds. Speaking from experience there. Once you've captured some pals of your own, you're then able to send them out to assist you in combat. Each one has their own moveset, and with a little extra effort can pull off incredible pal skills, which tend to be some of the strongest attacks in the game. There are NPCs to fight, as well as boss raids against enemy trainers and giant pals that require more than just brute force. Remember those elemental aspects of the pals that we were talking about earlier? Well, they're essential to bear in mind when coming up against tough enemies. The challenge is always there, and hey, adding to your growing pal army is a huge part of the appeal of Palworld, not just in terms of getting all of them, but also getting an efficient roster together for both combat and base building. And the fact that you can do those kind of things sort of proves that Palworld's a little dark. Crafting is a huge part of Palworld, allowing you to build entire factories to help you mine resources from the world around you. Factories staffed by, yeah, you guessed it, pals. And as the person in charge, you are free to be as brutal or as sweet as you like with your workforce. And if times get really tough, you can even cook up your precious pals and feed them to each other. Or chow down on them yourself. After all, who doesn't love to have a few friends over for dinner? From using your pal spheres to capturing other human beings, to sneaking into nature preserves to poach endangered pals, there are just quite a lot of morally dubious, sort of hilarious things that you can do in Palworld, and only in Palworld. I'll let you guys decide what playstyle you're going for though. But honestly, the reason it feels like everyone is playing Palworld is because, well, everyone is playing Palworld. The game racked up millions of players within days of its launch, so if you're looking to go blast colourful monsters with high-powered weaponry in the company of your own friends, then you're not going to be alone. And this is especially good news because although Palworld can absolutely be played solo totally fine, it also features cross-platform multiplayer that allows up to 4 PC and Xbox console players to pal around together. And once you've assembled your Palworld posse, you can team up, breeding your pals, pooling your resources, and launching coordinated attacks on the game's more formidable bosses. And if you're not feeling the cooperative spirit, Pocket Pair have promised to add PvP battles in the future. Which actually brings us along quite nicely to the final reason that you should absolutely jump on Palworld. Pocket Pair, who are the developers of Palworld, recently released a future content roadmap. And it looks like they're going to be taking us on one heck of an adventure. On top of those PvP battles that we mentioned, which will allow players to fight each other directly and using their pals, Pocket Pair have promised to add new raid bosses, new islands to explore, and new technology for players to unlock. And naturally, you can also expect continued quality of life updates to deal with any bugs and improve Palworld's general gameplay. To help everyone play together in perfect harmony, they're also going to be adding crossplay between Xbox and Steam players, and adding new measures to make sure that cheaters cannot ruin anyone else's good time. And I can really respect that, because if there's one thing that I will not stand for while we're using powerful weapons to poach exotic creatures from inside nature reserves, it's cheating. Ugh. Palworld is going to continue to evolve in new and surprising ways, and even at this early point in game preview, the community has already taken the internet by storm and blown up across various social media channels. So if you want to see where it goes next, why not head to Game Pass and download Palworld right now. So let's circle back to why we're all here. It provides a massive open world with plenty of adorable monsters and a healthy dose of difficulty, but why do you think Palworld has taken the world by storm? And what do you want to see next in the game? Hit the comments and let us know, and we'll see you out there. Bye!